What's up, everybody? It's a double stream day. Oh, I forgot my hat. Gotta cover up the bald spot, and look stylish while doing it. What's up, everybody? How's it going? So a couple updates on the Chiron. I've had it trip thermal runaway on the bed a couple times now. I don't know if you guys remember in the stream when I was working on it, I thought the bed was acting weird, and I'm wondering if I have an issue with the stock MOSFET. I do know I had gone in there, I believe I removed the tin wires. I can't remember. I think I did. But yeah, I'm going to let this run because it has tripped thermal runaway twice. Now, the first time it did it, it was having a hard time getting up to temp, so I actually insulated the bottom of the printer with my favorite high temp. This is actually pipe wrap, and it's made in America, and it's good for up to 120C. I use this stuff on my printers, and it's self-adhesive. It's great. So this is good up to 120C. We are going to be getting this in because I'm like, why are we not selling this? Because I use this on our printers, especially on the big builds, like the big beds like this. It took the heat up time from like, I don't know, 5 minutes to get to 60 to about 3. And you can barely feel any heat. If you put your hand underneath the bed, you don't feel the heat radiating off it. So I actually got in touch between that stream and now. I actually got in touch with the company that makes this stuff, found a distributor in Chicago, and placed an order for the installation. So we'll have that in our shop in about a week. But I'm curious to see if this trips thermal runaway again. This is the first time I've actually started printing a lot with it. I have done, I don't know, probably about 5 or 6 of those Fred Frogs from Thingiverse. You might be able to make them on here. There's a couple there. I gave a couple away. But it's just really weird that it's acting up. This is the Benchy I printed, and I did print, well, until thermal runaway happened. I did print this one, so I did find a ton of wheels that were very tight, so you can see the banding is almost completely gone. I don't know if you guys can see that well. So you can see there's still a little bit, but it's a lot better. So we'll see if that will resolve that issue. I'm printing another one. If it trips thermal runaway again, I'm gonna flip it up and check all the wiring going to the bed. I need to do that anyways. I was planning on replacing it. So, but yeah, I'm wondering, you know what? Could it be that the fan is just overcooling the bed because there's so much air? There's a lot of air coming off this, but I can't imagine that'd be the issue. We'll see. We'll see if it trips again. It got about this far up before it tripped. This one is printing fine now. Changed the PTFE fitting out and made sure it's fully inserted, and voila, my test machine is, though it's actually making parts. These are going to be for all my USB dongles and little cards and stuff. I figured might as well print stuff that I can use instead of just printing useless crap. So anyways, yank on those wires. I mean, I'm moving them. I don't think it's the wires going from the bed to the control box. I think it's something to do with the power delivery, meaning from the MOSFET to the bed. I don't know if anybody else has had issues with them or if it's like a known thing, but they definitely were tinned when I got it. I can't remember if I actually de-tinned them or not. I might have. There's a video talking about the tinned wires on these, but anywho, I'm going to look into that either way, whether this trips thermal protection or not. It's just really weird that like it was dropping temp. So, but hey, they're both printing now. Let's see. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. Oh, wait. It's showing 58 now. I'm gonna turn the fan down to like 50%. Because I do have our thermal runaway protection for the bed set pretty conservatively. So I dropped the fan down to 50%. It's sitting at 57. The light isn't even on in the bed. There's something going on inside. There's definitely something wrong. I hit it and the light came on and the bed's heating up again. Percussive maintenance. Okay, we're gonna turn this off so I don't burn any terminals up. Because something is definitely loose inside there. Okay. Yeah, so this bed has a light on the bottom of it that tells you if it's on or not, if it's receiving power, and the what's the word I'm looking for? The light came back on after I hit the control box. So yeah, we're gonna have to open that up later. There's either something loose or a bad solder joint or both. I don't know. But yeah, there's definitely something going on with that. Apparently it just likes to be spanked. You got to keep it in line once in a while. Just you know, I don't know. Anyways, percussive maintenance fixes everything. I was not expecting that to work. I've never hit a printer and it starts working again. Anyways, let's see. You guys need to ask questions in the chat. I'm going to do some shout outs since it's relatively quiet right now. Let's see. Who we got from the cult of TH Treaty? We got TJ Dorman and Paffenbarger, Doc Brown, Vickez, Mark Blister. Mark, either you change your name or you're relatively new. Although I think you have the 2-month little badge. So maybe you change your name. Dennis, I recognize Dennis, V Rich, John Santiago, Dominic Versetto. I'll give you a shout. I see the other Tim, the Canadian Tim, is in the house, Mr. DeWitt. Let's see. Where else? Who else do we got? We got Dean Hintz. Dean, you're a YouTube member and you're a moderator. How did that happen? Scott's here again. Scott, you must be a pretty slow day today if you're watching both my streams. Mr. Mudib. I'm never going to remember how to pronounce that. And of course, Ram's here. He heard me talking about the Chiron. He's like, Chiron? Someone say Chiron? Because he's like the one guy that was hounding me for all the Chiron stuff. I made the mistake of going outside. And now my sinuses hate me. Oh, God. I can't tell if I have to sneeze or not. Hang on. Okay, I'm sorry. This is driving me nuts. Anyways, let's see. DeWitt has got the first question, though. He said, I think he's got the first question. He says, in your opinion, why would a 3D printer manufacturer equip a hotting with a heat break made completely of PTFE/nylon, including threads that screw into a heat block? I can send a picture. You should definitely send that. Is that on that, was that on that, what's the word I'm looking for? The, that, like, silicone printer you were messing with from Atom Stack? Okay, I think I got all the demons out. Anyways, heat break out of PTFE. That's weird. PTFE and nylon. The only thing I can think of is if it's for something that's at a lower melt point, because that's weird. Let's see. Show that printer who's boss. Oh yeah. Yeah, well, we'll have to get in there. Look, something's going on. Either it should be it's either gonna be the MOSFET or the power supply or the wiring or any combination of those things. So, um, let's see. Justin Dybell is not here. He's just a figment of my imagination. I see Kurt's here, Mr. Funny Money, and Vince Roble. I'm pretty sure I missed somebody. If I missed you, don't take it personally. Um, all right, let's see. MPOMBARD asking recommendation for Zigbee or Z-Wave devices for Home Assistant. I'm a Z-Wave guy, so check out thesmartesthouse.com. They've got some awesome stuff. Zooz, Z-O-O-Z, is their house brand, and it's really good stuff. A lot of their stuff is the same like factory as a lot of the GE stuff you'll pay, you know, at least 50-60% more for. I've got a lot of the Zooz Z-Wave stuff here. I have a love-hate relationship with Z-Wave. I love that battery-powered devices are amazing, and they have long battery life, and they're easy to deploy, but the hate comes from sometimes the network just gets slow, and you'll be waiting, you know, anywhere from, you know, 1 second to 30 seconds for a light to turn on because the network's just chattering, and it's, for some reason, not responding. It drives me nuts. That's my one thing about Z-Wave, but I put up with it because of the convenience of the battery-powered devices, and it's meshing. So, but like 99% of the time, it works fine. And Z-Wave should go farther than Zigbee. Z-Wave is like, I think it's a 900 megahertz spectrum, and Zigbee is 2.4. So 2.4 is also what a lot of your Wi-Fi uses. So I try not to put stuff that crowds my 2.4 band, mainly because any IP devices I have that are IoT are usually on the 2.4 band. So we want to keep that kind of as low interference as possible, if that makes sense. So. Oh my god. I don't know what's going on with my nose. I'm sorry. It drives me nuts. Issues with my ears and my nose just make me not happy. Anyways, let's see. RAM Design, he said, I was loading VS Code, going well, but it seems my system will not load any extensions. I've ever had that happen. I have not. But there is a folder. I believe it's in like your app. Now, I'm a Windows user. If you're on Mac, I can't really help you. But there is a .vs code folder if you're on Windows. I'm assuming Mac would have it too, in your actual user account folder. So if I go click Timothy Hoagland on my computer, there's a Platform.io file or folder and a VS Code folder. Sometimes deleting those, if you're having weird issues, can kind of reset everything. I usually will uninstall Python, Platform.io, VS Code, delete all those folders, and then do a fresh install, and usually everything will start playing nice again. But yeah, luckily, knock on wood, I haven't had too many issues with VS Code. I've just realized my doggo's not here. I think my wife still has Remo. So I was out in the shop for a while soldering up some easy out boards. So KY Guns and Rays, is it possible to run a 5-volt fan on one of the 5-volt headers of a main board, filament detector, etc.? In general, you could, but I wouldn't recommend it because you don't know what the max draw on a board is typically. You don't want to overload the 5-volt regulator. You could get like a step down. I would run it on a separate step down, to be completely honest, because here's the thing. If for some reason that fan dies or shorts out, it's going to take the whole board out with it. You know, you can run on a little step down. Like if you're just looking for a cheap 5-volt step down, you can actually use the universal power kit we have for our Easy Neos to run fans. It's just 5 volts, 1.5 amps output. That's what I would do, because look at it this way. If you short the fan out, or you short the wires, or the fan decides to yeet itself, then it burns up that little cheap adapter instead of your whole control board. That's just my opinion. I would not wire them off of there. Typically, it would not be something I would do, but I would just run them off of a step down. I'll post a link in here. It's literally $5, and you don't have to do any adjusting or anything. It's all preset. So you give it 12 to 24 volts, and it spits out 5 volts up to 1.5 amp. So you could easily run a couple fans off of that. You guys need to ask questions. Otherwise, I'm just going to go start working on this printer. Mm. How about we do something a little different, you guys? How about we play some Among Us? Among Us. I love that game. I love that game. Did I get the Easy ABL CAD files up? Yes, I did. They're on our help center. If you go to Easy ABL and Advanced Setup, I couldn't think of any other place to put it, but it's under Advanced Setup. You'll see Fusion 360, or just search Easy ABL Fusion in the help center. It'll show up. Let's see. Are Up Plus 2 printers okay? I don't know because I've never used them. I'm not going to give thoughts on stuff I haven't used. I try to keep my opinions to things I actually have hands-on experience with. So, any updates on the new main board? That's what's in this right now. This is, well, I had 3. There's one in here, there's one here, and I sent one to one of our guys. I sent one to one of our guys on Discord who is working on the Clipper stuff. So I talked about that briefly on the Chiron stream. So yeah, I get allergies, but I don't really care at this point. I just need to keep on keeping on. Have I started adding new printers to the firmware yet? So hopefully this weekend. So my holdup right now is we are restructuring the config files on the firmware side. To end users, you guys are not going to see any difference. But on the back end side of things, I am changing them to be more user-friendly with the Easy Firmware site and prepping for the EasyBoard V2 release because it does use different configs. So we're changing things up. Now, my buddy Chip, who helps us with the development, did like the majority of the work, basically all of it. I set up the firmware, did the networking stuff, and did all the ideas and minor changes. Anyways, he's the one I let maintain all the code so I don't break anything since he's the one that wrote all the core stuff. And he's going to be doing those updates this weekend. So that's what's holding me up from new machines right now. This one, the plan is this one gets off the desk and I want to get the Solval SV03 up here so I can get firmware on this. That'll be my next one. I think the SV03, we've already got the Ender 3 Max, so I think the next one to do work on will be the SV03 with its stock board and seeing what other boards can be made to work in there. So ABL recommendation, if you guys ask me for an ABL recommendation, I'm always going to say our Easy ABL. Also, I will give a shout out. I don't know if you guys watch Kevin over at 509 Drone. He did an awesome video on the Ender 3 V2 with our Easy ABL and converting the LCD. And it's funny because I asked him, like, because I sent him out. He's a relatively newer channel. And I like working with the smaller guys because they're usually more responsive. They're not as stuck up about things. I'm not going to name names, but I've had not very good experiences with some of the bigger guys because they, think that they're, too big to talk to, lowly peasants like myself. But I'll go ahead and post this. So he did a really good video. He does really good videos. I really like how he does his videos, which is why I wanted to send him stuff. So I sent him out the LCD, our Easy ABL, and I think I sent him a filament sensor kit. It was a while ago. He's been busy. So, but check his channel. I just posted a link there. He does really good videos. So if you have an Ender 3 V2, check it out. But I asked him, I was like, hey, give me some honest feedback, like, because he started the video throwing the BL Touch in the trash with its electrical tape cable, with his shielding he did on there. And he told me what he say. He's like, honestly, I said, honest feedback time. How do you like the Easy ABL? He said, honestly, so far it's amazing. Only done about 3 or 4 prints so far. If anything comes up, I'll let you know. And then he said one bit of feedback I would give after installing it is the mounting bracket. So he has Ender 3 V2. He says the Ender 3 V2 plate has 3 pre-tap holes on it, so it doesn't seem necessary to mount it to the gantry wheel. Sorry, it has 2 pre-tap holes. So yes, he is correct. Creality changed the carriage, the X carriage on the Ender 3 V2s after release to include 2 extra screw holes. So our technician Peter, he actually did design a bracket for the Ender 3 V2 to go onto those 2 screw holes, but the mount we carry in our store, just so we can cover both models, is the one that attaches to the V-slot wheel bolt. you know, I'm sure you guys are shocked that Creality changed something after a printer was released. Because I actually went back in the video and I was like, I don't think ours had holes, because if they had holes there, we would have used them. And lo and behold, there were no holes. So they changed it. So anyways, but I want to give Kevin a shout out because I really like his style in his videos. I like his editing. Like, he does very good work. He's very clear. And I feel like he's able to portray things in a little bit simpler way than I am. I sometimes get a little too technical. So, anyways, let's see. I'm gonna go through the questions here and see where we're at. Hopefully you guys had some questions since I was blabbering on. So we went on a segue about the new main board. Yep, Easy Board V2. I'm really close to giving the go-ahead to Griffin to get the production run going. So, so far we've had 4 boards that came off the production line. This is the last one that has not been tested, but all 4 of them had no issues and are working out of the box, which is great. So, let's see. Woosach is asking, any options other than Creality for an Ender 6 bed heater? Seems like there's not much available between 230 and 310. Yeah, you're really not going to find much. I think your best bet would probably be doing a 230 and insulating the crap out of it. As far as I know, I have not seen much in that range, so you would be right. I haven't looked in a while, but it's been a couple years. I was looking for something for one of our G-Tech printers that we ended up getting rid of, one of the A20s, which has a 260 by 260 bed, and there just wasn't much out there. John Santiago, how to install EasyABL on the Aquila without the TH3D firmware? Well, we don't have firmware for that board because of the whole issue with their processors. But if you can get a working build of Marlin on there, you would follow the Marlin build. You would build a version of Marlin for your printer and then follow the EasyABL vanilla guide for the actual EasyABL settings. So I don't see why that kit wouldn't work on that as long as you have firmware. The problem is right now is the fact that they're using knockoff processors. Aquila is using those GigaDevice chips, and right now Marlin relies on ST software libraries, so you can't use ST software libraries on knockoffs. Larry M, I finally updated the firmware on EasyBoard. I assumed a new menu item, host start. What does host start do? It doesn't do anything. It was a thing for, well, in terms of the average user, it doesn't do anything. It's part of the action command system, and we disabled that in the latest release because most people are not going to use it. I don't even use it. Basically, we turn on a feature called action commands that allows more communication between your printer's board, like the firmware, so Marlin and Octoprint, to communicate like when it's paused, waiting for filament on a filament change, that kind of stuff. Just don't do anything with it. Ignore it. If you update your firmware to whatever is on the site right now, that menu will go away because of people asking that question. What does it do? Don't touch it. Leave it alone. Don't press things you don't know about. I did not realize that option was enabled that put the menu on there. My Ender 6 has it on there. And yeah, just leave it alone. Don't touch it. Update your firmware and it'll go away. It's kind of a sore spot because we got a million people emailing us. It's like, just leave it alone and stop touching things. And then I had to issue a software update. I believe that, hang on. Need to check. I believe the latest one should have it disabled, or I'm thinking that I patched it. Maybe it's patched in a bug fix. I don't know. I'm checking. Hang on. Nope. It's definitely 2.34a has it disabled. You can just read, or you can just feel my contempt in the release notes. Setting changes. Remove host start menu for action commands as user asking questions about it and wasting support time. This item is not used. Yeah, you're not going to use the host start. It's just for if you want to start a print from the screen that's already queued up in Octoprint, but even that doesn't work well, so you don't use it. It's not a feature anybody uses. If you want to use it, go ahead and turn it on, but we're not going to provide support for it. So, yeah. And this whole thing, we turned action commands on in the firmware because people were asking about it, because Octoprint released an update that was then complaining that action commands is available in the firmware, but it's not enabled. So then people were asking us about that, and then yeah, it's annoying. Let's see. Andrew Osmond, I posted a question earlier. I think I may have missed it about my Industry Max. What's an Industry Max? Or did you mean Ender 3 Max and you're using voice to text? Oh, Ender 3 Max. Hang on. Yeah, I don't see anything from you, Andrew Osmond. Yeah, I don't see your question. You must have posted it before the stream started, so I don't see it. So you have to repost your question. I do not look in Discord for questions. The only time I look for Discord or in Discord is when someone is asking a question on YouTube and is sharing something with me. So that's the protocol here. You have a question, you post it in the chat here, and if I need extra information, then post it in Discord. Let's see here. So DWIT, this is actually interesting. I will show this. This is that heat break that it definitely looks like it's PTFE. And this is in that like silicone printer he's messing with. That, like, look at the threads are already stripped out. I feel like this is a terrible idea. At least make it metal with PTFE lined. This, I don't know if this is for a purpose or if this is cost cutting. Could be either. Could be both. Maybe a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Someone's looking for the Easy Board 1 dimensions on hole space and mount the board. Look up the Creality board. It's exactly the same. I don't have them. I have to look them up. I know Creality has them. Creality V1 on 4 board dimensions. I feel like I'm just like a glorified Google. Let's see. I know they have it. I think it's on their on the what's it called? I know they had it. It's literally the same exact thing because the board is meant to replace it, so we follow the same exact directions. Hang on. It's not board dimension, board schematic. It's on their GitHub. Question is, can I find it? Just put in the help center. Where is it? Board schematic. I know it's here. This is schematic, CR10, hang on. Ender 3, PCB. Where is it? PCB parts, is this it? Yeah, here it is. Be the same exact one. Yes, yeah, it's the exact same as the Ender 3 board. There you go. Yeah, my tank is kind of dry. Hence why I got a really bad dry hit earlier. Alan's asking, you guys need to ask questions because you guys are very quiet today. I might just, we're only half hour in. I might just start working on the Chiron, trying to figure out what's going on with the bed. Alan Kilgore, any insights on the future features in Marlin? Seems like we're going to lag behind others, especially with features like input shaping, web-based GUI, mainsail fluid, etc. I don't have any insider information. I do talk to Scott, but he hasn't like divulged anything. All their development's pretty public, if not all of it. But yeah, I would like to see input shaping on there. I don't really care about a web-based GUI because I use Octoprint. I'm not a huge fan of stacking my web interface on the printer's processor. It's a little different with Clipper. which is what like Mainsail and Fluid and all these other ones are, because you're running that on the Pi. Yeah, it's just not something I like doing. And then you've got like solutions that use like an ESP, and the ESPs are cool for like small DIY projects, but they just don't do the same thing that Octoprint does. I think Mainsail and Fluid, I have not messed with them, but I know there's guys in our Discord that do. And they seem pretty full featured right now, but I haven't had time to mess with any of that Klipper stuff. That's why I sent one of our new boards to one of our guys in our Discord that's like the resident Klipper expert, because he's going to build a config and test Klipper on the EasyBoard V2. So there are example configs, so if anybody wants to use it on their own, that it'll already be done. He's also the one that worked with some of the other guys to get the V1 board supported as well. So, anyways, let's see. You guys have any more questions? Marlin supports a web interface if an ESP Wi-Fi device is on the board. Yeah, I knew there was some sort of like integration with that, but it's still not. As far as I know, you still can't do like a webcam because you would need a USB port. It's very limited. It's more like, if you guys are familiar with, like, I think SmoothieWare had one, and it was just a very basic interface. Same thing with like Duet. Duet's got an onboard web interface, and while it does check the box that it has a network interface, it's not anywhere close to what Octoprint does. So, Justin and I know you're about finished with the EasyBoard V2. Are there any plans on making a board with more than 4 drivers? Yes, as soon as we can actually get processors. Because the problem is, the only reason we're able to run boards right now is because we bought processors back in like either March or early April. We bought processors before the board was even done, in the hopes that we'd be able to get Marlin on it. And luckily we were able to, but we didn't have the capital to also purchase a whole nother second set of processors at already inflated prices. So, once prices start coming down, yeah, we'll do a 5 driver with a ton of other extra bells and whistles and call it the Pro. But right now, we just can't get the chips. You know, if Ford can't get chips for their trucks, we're basically going to get shafted, because we're such a small outfit. Like, we don't have that kind of buying power. So, Jim Upstate now, I have 2 BL Touch clones with 3 different wire colors on both. Any idea if there's a set pinout? I'd try to find which clone you have and look it up on the manufacturer's website, or just try to extrapolate the pins by looking at the order of the pins versus the actual BL Touch stuff. So, personally, I wouldn't even I'd sooner mess with a real BL Touch than a clone. The clones are terrible. Like, they're really bad. If you want a BL Touch, buy a genuine BL Touch, because the reality is the CR Touch, the 3D Touch, all these, they're straight up patent infringements of BL Touch's actual patent. So if you are buying those, you are literally supporting piracy. So, and Ant Labs is a small woman-owned company out of South Korea. So, you know, don't buy clones. Throw them in the trash where they belong. D-Wit's asking, do we sell the 500mm flex? But I'm gonna need a second option for my rat rig. We carry 508 by 508. That should be a good fit. If you have a 500 by 500 bed, you'll overhang by four whole millimeters on each side. But yeah, we've got a 508 by 508. And we have those in both smooth and textured, and we also have magnets for them. And our magnets are good up to 120C. Let's see. Yeah, I agree, Justin. The U.S. needs to open up more plants making chips. Absolutely. It was stupid to outsource all that stuff overseas. I don't care where it is overseas. We should be making chips here in the U.S. Yeah, I could rant about that for hours. Blue Balloon Productions. How has the Mega Zero 2.0 held up? It's in our print farm, and I've heard no complaints about it. I see it out there running jobs off, so no news is good news. It works. Because I know my guys will tell me we've gone through and reevaluated printers and got rid of the ones that were like the problem children. So yeah. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, getting up to Canada shouldn't be an issue. Packages have been moving through to Canada pretty good. So, what color tag does it have on it? I don't know what that means. What color tag? I have no idea. Have I done anything more with the A5 laser engraver? I have not, because I haven't had anything to do with it. I wish I had more stuff to do with it. Yeah, I wish. So, DeWitt, you can also check. I don't know if we have any, but we have a section. Many people don't realize this, but we do have what we call our B stock. And there's a page that's got all of our B stock stuff. And we sometimes have, it looks like we're out on the 508s on there too. But if you want stuff for really cheap, you can save a minimum of 30% off a flex plate if you don't care if it might have some cosmetic damage on it. You know, it's like little scratches and nicks, stuff that doesn't affect how it works, but would be something enough where if we sent it out as new, people would complain. So, all right, let's see. I think we're gonna move into just working on the printer since you guys are not very chatty. Let's see what we let's see what we're dealing with on this giant thing. This printer is just so unwieldy to deal with. All right. Okay, look at that. Okay, filament. It's either in the printer, it's in your hand, or it's on the spool. You put it through the spool. Okay? I can honestly say I've never had a Tangle spool that was not a cause of my own handling. All right. Let's see what we find. Now, I'm pretty confident that the actual connections up from here into the box are fine. I'm wondering. Oh God. Okay, I spared you guys the hearing damage. So you can see here, I just give it a little shot. It's all insulated. It heats up quicker now, except now there's a whole nother issue. Because the universe hates me, apparently. So, let's see. The Chiron is such an ancient machine design-wise. It's no more ancient than a CR10. They're not much. I don't know if you guys look, but aside from them putting some lipstick on these pigs, not much has changed on the printers. It's just regurgitating the same shit with plastic covers. Like, that's the main difference. You guys are being fooled by plastic covers over extrusion and other things to think that they did a ton of, you know, updates to a machine. They're all basically the same, even going back 2 or 3 years. Like, but I guess their marketing is working. If you guys think that things have changed that much in the last couple of years. Yeah, this is the only annoying thing. I gotta unhook the Easy ABL. Not that bad, I guess. Get my... There we go. The goal is to not be in here that often. So let's see. So we've got our power out. We've got our MOSFETs. Take a look at the MOSFET and see if there's anything that's how you doing in there. Move this out of the way. Go away. Okay, this goes up to the header here. Check the cables. These look like they're in. Let's take a look at the back of the MOSFET. Yeah, we'll have the installation soon. You can sometimes like this is a high temp pipe wrap. I'm not going to divulge my preferred supplier, but you can find it in hardware stores. I find it's hit and miss for the high temp stuff, but I was able to actually get it directly from them. So we will be getting there will be TH3D bed insulation, and it is made in the U.S. I made sure to ask them stuff like that. There's no reason I can't get that stuff that's made in the U.S. All right, let's see if we find anything on the back of the MOSFET that is, sus. Oh my god, come off. They hot glued this damn thing on here. Well, I guess that's one way of getting it off. Just pull the whole header off. I mean, the pins are still on the board. Hey, whatever. Um, these look okay. See anything out of sorts here? That's tight. Okay, those look like they bit in pretty well. Same here, so why is this cutting out? I mean, this all seems like it's solidly on here. It sucks when you're like troubleshooting an issue and you don't find something right away. I know it's not the thermistor because the temperature does not jump. It does not jump around. It just stops heating until I physically hit the damn thing. So let's do this. We're gonna put this back together. You can see I did get rid of the tin wire ends. So that's not. I was expecting to open this up and these terminals would be really melty. But that does not seem to be the case for this particular issue. Anyways. Yeah, see this bed says or this power supply says it puts out 41 amps. Now, MOSFETs we sell, I only officially rate them at I think either 25 or 30. I know they can go higher, but I might do what they do. If you notice, this board has two MOSFETs on it and they're in parallel. I'm assuming to split up the load. The only problem is if one of these MOSFETs are faulty, well then it's not going to work correctly, which could lead to what I'm getting here. What is? Oh, these wires are so short. Which one is pulling on it? This one? The negative? Both? So the thing is, I don't see anything physically wrong, so it could just be that these MOSFETs, maybe these chips are going out. I hate when I don't see a clear physical problem with the machine because then it makes troubleshooting way more annoying and time consuming. So, but luckily, just throw this back on here and run it with the cover off. No big deal. I'm going to check the wire going. So this wire here goes to the MOSFET control in. So if there is something wrong with that, like it's not making a good connection, then that would also prevent it from working too. So you got to check all the connections in the chain of command when you're trying to troubleshoot a part. Make sure I put this all back together. Yeah, you make these wires short as possible. You ain't kidding there. The problem is the bed stops heating until you hit it. Apparently. I think I'm joking. I literally, at the beginning of the stream, it stopped heating and then I just gave it a whack and it started heating again. I'll just throw this back there. And let's check the check these terminals up here. Well, I mean, there's 10 wires, but it doesn't matter. It's a MOSFET. But these look like they're in there firm. So I don't see anything out of sorts here. Nothing out of sorts from what I can tell. Alright, well, let's tell it to heat up, and we're going to let it idle, and we're going to go and just chat. Hashtag just chatting. Follow me on my OnlyFans. You can see some hot ends for just $4.99 a month. I'm running a sale. Actually, you know, I can check it there. Alright. Okay, let's just go for broke here. I'm gonna tell it to go to 100C. Do I bite my nails? Yes, I do. I'm a degenerate. Is that a proprietary main board? It's one of their main boards. I wouldn't really call it proprietary because they've been using it for a while, but yes, it's an Anycubic board. Alright, so here's what we want to look for. So do you see here, see the control LED? Do you guys see that? So you see there's that control LED. Come on, focus, you fuck. Oh my god. Okay, see that? That means it's being told to turn on. So that's on. So is the light on the bed, which you can see shining through there. So we got that light's on, the DC is getting power, and the light is on by the MOSFET. See heater 1? That's the bed. Okay? So basically what I want to do is look and see which light turns off. So if this light turns off, but this light's on, that means there's a failure on the MOSFET. If this light turns off when it should be heating, that means there's something wrong with the board. If the light on the bed shuts off, but these are all on, then that means there's something wrong with the MOSFET. So you got to kind of like go through and do a process of elimination. Now, one thing I am going to do is I'm going to check the voltage coming out of the power supply because it should be, I think it's, yeah, it's 20, it should be 24 volts. So if I come here off the DC, let's see how our voltage drop is too. So, holy shit. We're only getting 19.7. Wow. Wow, is my power supply going out? Is that it? Hold up. Let me see if I turn the power supply off what I'm getting. Or turn the bed off. Holy shit. Do you guys see this? Do you guys see how much voltage drop we're getting across these wires? Holy fuck. Holy fuck. That's insane. Holy fuck. Okay. You know, I'm going to plug this in my computer so I can turn the bed on and off from my PC so I don't have to keep getting up and getting in the way. That is insane. Do you guys see how much voltage drop there is on that? That is nuts. That is absolutely nuts. I was not expecting that. I don't think I've ever seen a printer with that much voltage drop when the bed's on. That's insane. You know where all that goes? That goes into heat. All right. So can you guys see the... You see the meter there? Okay, so we're at 26.725, all right? I'm telling the bed to heat right now. Oh, fuck. Holy shit. And turn it off. Turn it on. Holy shit. Okay, what are we getting at the actual power supply? No, it's not even the wires. This power supply is just sagging that much. Look at that. I was expecting, so what we're at like 19.75 here. And we're at 19.71. So there's only a tiny bit of drop actually happening. Holy shit. That is a ton of voltage drop. Holy shit. Okay, so what I want to do is load this for a while and see what shuts off. Cheap ass Chinese power supply. Yep, I guarantee Meanwhile wouldn't be doing this. Damn. I mean, that failed pretty quickly before. Hey, Ram, if you're still watching, check your check your power supply too. I'm curious to see because I think he's got 3 or 4 Chirons. I'm curious to see what your results are because I mean we're not getting that much drop across these MOSFETs. So if I do the MOSFET, we're at like 19.7, 19.8, and coming in, yeah, 19.8, almost 19.9. So this MOSFET module, it looks like it's built well. Tracer pretty good. Jesus. How many? This is the Changling brand. This is the same brand that Creality uses. Hang on, Tim has more tools. All right. Don't touch the AC power. I'd like to live. All right. I've got enough money and test tools here to buy a whole new printer. All right, let's see. That's pitiful. This is only pulling 15, almost 16 amps, and it's dropping that much. This power supply is rated for 40 freaking amps. Holy shit. Off. On. Off. On. I was expecting way more current than 15 amps. No wonder this damn bed takes so long to heat up. You know what? If this is only pulling this much, I could just put a 450 watt mean well that we carry for the Ender 5 Plus in here. And just be done with it. Alright, so here's what I want to here's what I want to see. What is the resistance on the bed? Alright, I'm gonna turn the bed on, then unplug it. I'm thinking maybe the power supply is going out. Because all of this looks fine. The bed itself, the wires, the MOSFET. This is sagging 7 whole freaking volts. That's insane. What was I just going to do? I was turning this off. Oh, I was going to test. So let's see what the bed resistance is. So that'll give us an idea of how much power it's going to pull. So if I disconnect the wires from the bed, we'll use our friend Ohm's law. We can figure out how much power we're going to pull just by reading the resistance. Because it's just a resistive heater. That's all it is. It's nothing fancy. I'll tell you this. Oh, wait. Hang on. I need to change select. Ohms. Okay. Okay, so the bed's 1 point... Let's call it 1.2. 1.3. I'm going to say 1.2. Let's give it some headroom. So 1.2 ohms of resistance. So if we're feeding it... I always have to do this. I really should know Ohm's law off the top of my head, but I don't. I'm not going to pretend like I do. Ohm's law calculator. So if we've got 24 volts and we have 1.2 ohms of resistance, that says it should be pulling 20 amps, 480 watts of power. If we do 1.3, if we go on the other side, we're at like 443. So we would be pushing a 450 watt mean well pretty hard, but I think it can handle it. I'm just thinking about what I have on hand here. The only other option would be to do, without buying other stuff, and it might actually be cheaper, would be run 2 350 watts in parallel, giving us, what, a total of potentially 700 watts. I haven't ran power supplies in parallel in a while. I know it's not generally recommended. But that's really bad that's only, okay, let's say it's a max load of 20 amps, like, at all. This power supply, according to its own damn label, says it'll do 41 amps. Bullshit. Look at it. What does that say right there? What does that say? That says 41.7 amps, and it's sagging 7 amps with a 15 amp load on it. Or it's not 7 amps, sorry. It's sagging 7 volts with a freaking 15 amp load on it. There's no way in hell this will put out a 40 amp 200 or 40 amp 24 volt. This is why I hate these knockoff power supplies. They're knockoffs. They're knockoffs of Meanwells. They copy the form factor, the bolt hole pattern, all this other stuff. Like, this brand makes knockoff power supplies. That's what they are. And this is the kind of shit why I don't like these off-brand power supplies, because they do shit like this. They don't work correctly. Like, so I don't think it's the MOSFET or the wiring. Given the fact that the power supply is sagging 7 whole volts under load, is very concerning. Like, that's insane. No wonder it's like not maintaining temperature, because it's just trying not to die. Let's see. Let's take it apart. Why is line black and red is neutral? What are color codes? It's whatever we want. Mm. What are color codes? Yes, the wires are color coded. That's what it must mean. Yes, the color codes on the wires exist. They have colors on them. Okay, how the hell do you get this off here? And the funny thing is, they overspec this power supply. Just going by the ohms of the bed, they overspec this power supply by 2 times, over 2 times, according to what the Chinese amp label says. And it still doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Like, is there another screw on this? And the sad part is, this printer does not have more than maybe 12 hours of actual usage on it. 12 hours. And it's already having issues. Hey, it's free. All right, time to move to the other camera. I think we found our culprit with why the bed wasn't heating correctly. Because here's the thing. Everything else kept working. It was just the bed dropping off. The, what's the word I'm looking for? The other parts of the machine were working fine because they have their own power supply. Now, disclaimer here, there are capacitors in here that could zap you, so don't be dumb and respect the machine. So you can see here my power switch is actually set correctly. So that's not it. Now, hopefully the capacitor is self-discharged, but I still am cautious when I'm inside these just in case. So let's see, can I get this? Is that all it is? Slide off. Why is this not coming out? There it goes. Okay. Doesn't look too terrible. So these are the main ones you don't want to touch. These could possibly have charge in them. These are basically the input ones. Don't touch the bottoms. I don't see anything that like these aren't even warm. Yeah, channeling power. Oh, do you guys see this? Do you guys see this? This is why I don't trust off-brand power supplies. Do you guys see what that says? See what that part number says right there? Do you see what I see? What does that say? What does that say right there? Because this clearly says 1,000 watts, but this PCB says 800. Yeah, I can't. I was hoping I could get this goop off. Um, but that looks like it says CL-800W. But there's a sticker here on the transformer that says 1,000. Yeah. And the funny thing is, this, I don't know if this is rated per terminal, but says a 48 1 amp output on the power supply. I don't know if you guys can see this. Come on, camera. God damn it. This terminal block itself, it only says it's rated for 30 amps. So that's interesting. Yeah. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to try the 450 watt and see how many. Oh, look, it's got a QC passed. Quick check passed. Right there. Quick check passed. I'm going to try the 450 watt meanwhile in here and see if that works. I will check the amp load because I don't mind pushing because I think the 450 watt is like, what is that, 18 amps? So around there. What is it? Yeah, 18 amps at 450 watts. So I'll plug that up, mount that in, and then I'll take an actual measurement and see how much current's going through it. If it's right around that 18 amp load, I'm just going to run the 450 in it and call it a day. Because the Ender 5 Plus, I've been running the 450 Ender 5 Plus in the Ender 5 Plus for a while, and that bed pulls like 16, almost 17 amps sometimes, and it's been running like a champ for years. So, anyways, so there's that. At least I have the parts to hopefully fix this. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to find a cross reference for this. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to make some sort of mounting bracket to put the 450 in its place, but yeah, that's really weird. So they're recycling this 800 watt PCB for a 1,000 watt. There's no temp sensor in here either. There's a header for an NTC thermistor, but there's nothing populated. And this fan just runs all the time. So maybe that's what they're doing. Yeah. Well, I just realized all my audio filters are filtering out my size because I was like, and it cut it off. I was trying to see what gauge wire this was. Doesn't say on this shielding or sheathing. All right, well, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to see if there's any questions in chat. And apparently the work is not done on this printer because I'm going to have to figure out a new power supply. Just given the fact that it's sagging 7 volts at less than half of its rated load. I mean, even by Chinese power supply standards, you know, like basic, like generic knockoff power supply standards, that's even disappointing because usually I'll expect at least 70% of the rated output on the label, and this isn't even half, and it's sagging 7 volts. That's garbage. Especially considering, like, here's the thing. This isn't like this printer was used for a year and a half under heavy use. This literally sat in my garage which is temperature controlled, by the way, heated and cooled. For a year and a half until I started recently doing stuff with it, and this power supply is basically new and it's already having these issues. That's insane. This is why I don't like these power supplies. I'll take Meanwell over these any day. Meanwell is not the best power supply, but for the price and performance for 3D printer applications, you can't beat it. Meanwell is a good bang for the buck, and they're reliable. So, Neodust said, "You're right about the Ender 6. I just ran dedicated wires for the thermistor and the heater, and the temps are steady." Cool. I figured that'd be the case. I was just going off of what makes sense. Yeah. So I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check and see if that 450 will work well for it. I mean, if it was only pulling 16 amps, but here's the thing. It was pulling 16 amps with it sagging. So when the voltage went like this, the amps also went like this. So, I mean, at least Meanwell is overcurrent protection. So if I put the 450 in here and it's not going to want to do it, it'll shut off and protect itself. This one is just like, I'm just dropping down. Yeah, bullshit that this is 1,000 watts. It can't even put out half of that without sagging. Like, come on. Yeah. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Just really disappointed. Okay, let's see if there's any quick questions here. Skog stream and stuff. So basically, should I replace my Chiron power supply before I use it again? If yours is doing this, I would definitely recommend replacing it. Because I will not trust this. It's not going to go back in the printer. It's staying out. I'm not putting that back in there. Yeah. Justin says, replace the MOSFET module with one of yours, just a gut feeling. Well, I'm going to try it with the Meanwell. Here's the thing. I've used Anycubics MOSFETs back in the day. I haven't used them in a while. It's generally pretty hard to screw up a MOSFET unless you have, like, crappy physical MOSFET chips on there, like the actual FETs. And their stuff is pretty beefy. I don't think that's the issue. Given the fact that this is sagging even at the terminals, like, I was expecting to put my meter on the output side of the MOSFET and see a voltage drop, not on the input and the output and the power supply terminals itself. Because I have seen where there's a lot of voltage drop across the MOSFET, and you measure the power going into the MOSFET, and it's, 1 or 2 volts higher than what's coming out of it, Meanwell, 1,000 watts is about 165. Here's the thing. If I'm going a Meanwell, I'm going to get what I need. And basically, on the calculations I've made, a 450 is going to be really cutting it close. A 500 is going to be basically what we should have in here for a Meanwell. So if it's 1.2 ohms of resistance at 24 volts draw, that's 20 amps. It's like 480 watts. So, but the thing is, I might be able to get away with a 450 in here just because Meanwell does derate their stuff. But I'm going to test, and we'll obviously have to now do a follow-up on this and see what the bed actually pulls when it's getting 24 volts. Now, the alternative is I could also dial back the output of the Meanwell. So I could put a 24-volt Meanwell in there, and just as a stopgap for right now, so I can use the printer, I could have its output dialed back to like 20 volts, which will then drop how much current it's drawing. So hopefully that makes more sense, because since it's a resistive load, if I lower the amount of volts going to it and the Meanwell's output is adjustable, if I drop it down from 24 volts down to like 18 or 19, I can still use the machine and not be overdrawing wattage on the printer's power supply, because when we drop the volts, we're also dropping how many watts of power the bed is consuming, because the amperage goes down because the voltage went down. So they're all directly related. So if you up the voltage, it'll draw more amps and draw more watts. If you lower the voltage, it'll draw less watts and draw less amps. So, or consume less watts and draw less amps. So hopefully that makes sense. So the workaround could be, if I don't care that it heats up a little bit longer, just throw the 450 in there, dial it back to like 20 volts, and say screw it and just use it. You know what I mean? It really depends on what the price of a larger unit. If it's like $180 for a bigger unit, I'm going to be okay with having my bed temps be a little bit longer of a heat up. I just want to make sure, and I do have the tools to make sure I'm not drawing too much from the power supply. As long as I'm staying within the limits, that's really all that matters. So, anyways, I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys had fun. I appreciate you guys stopping by. If you guys do want to catch me online, basically I'm on Discord. That's the only like social media I use these days. If you guys also want to check out the Maker Forum, make sure you go to makerforum.tech. That's where I hang out as well. But Discord and Maker Forum are like the two places I use. And I will see you guys all on the next stream. I appreciate everybody that stopped by. And as always, happy printing.